Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and welcome back to Every Version Ever. Today I'm joined once more by Stanford Clark and Rachel Wagner, and we're going to be doing something I've wanted to do for a long time, a whole episode dedicated to ranking all the versions of Peter Pan I've talked about this year. I've had the idea to do something like this for a while. I think at one point I discussed with Sarah about doing an Alice in Wonderland ranking once I'd finally gotten to the end, but I got to thinking, I've been doing this podcast for 5 years, technically longer if you count the years I was doing Wonderland Wednesday. I started reviewing versions of Alice in Wonderland in 2017 and I'm still nowhere near the end. So then I thought maybe I should do a top 10 ranking and update it every once in a while, which I probably will do at some point, but in the meantime, I thought I could do a ranking of all the different versions of each story as I reach the end of the series for the year. So we're starting with Peter Pan. I figured Stanford was the natural choice to join me for this one. He's done the most episodes with me for this series, and he's seen most of the movies I'll be ranking. And then Rachel Wagner has been a movie critic for years. I know she's seen most of these as well, plus a bunch I haven't gotten to yet. So why not make it a party? So this episode will be the first in an ongoing series. I'll try to do an episode like this after most stories I do for Every Version Ever, depending on how many episodes I do. If it's just a short mini-series like we're going to be doing next month, or if I only do a small handful of episodes adding on to an ongoing story series we're covering, I probably won't do a ranking, but for a new, long series like this one, in the future we'll rank all the versions we talked about, and I'm hoping to start doing some top 10s for stories we've done over the past 5 years of the podcast. Either way, this one is the first episode in this new project and the final episode in our Peter Pan series for this year. We will definitely have to come back to Peter Pan in the future. I've had a lot of fun looking at all these different versions, and there are still so many more out there. But until the next series on Peter Pan, let's rank every version ever that we talked about this year, plus a few extra, with Stanford and Rachel. So this is an idea I've had for a while. I had originally been thinking that I would do like a ranking when I finished every version ever of something, but then I was thinking, well, I don't really need to wait until I'm done. I could probably do this at the end of the season of episodes and just talk about the ones that I've done. And I was originally thinking I would just make a list and do it myself, but then I thought it'd be more fun to do a conversation. And since Stanford had done so many with me this season, I figured he would be a good guest. And since Rachel, as a film critic, has probably seen a lot of Peter Pans, she would also be a good one to talk about these with. So we're going to rank the ones both that I've seen. I will be ranking the ones that I've talked about on the podcast. And then Rachel and Stanford will be adding in the ones that they have seen to their own lists. I think Stanford and I have 14 and Rachel has 10. So I will start with my bottom, my least favorite version that I've talked about, and that would be Jake and the Neverland Pirates, which barely counts as an adaptation of Peter Pan. It's not horrible, but I would not want to watch this again. It was very child-oriented. Peter Pan hardly shows up. It was something that I watched out of curiosity rather than wanting to be entertained. I kind of knew that it wouldn't be that great, and I was mostly correct. What about you, Stanford? What's your least favorite version?
My least favorite was that heinous Peter Pan and Wendy that was on Disney Plus.
Oh,
I hated that movie so much. I think mostly I was so excited for it. So I think it was a combination of disappointment, and I hate manufactured backstory so
mm,
much. Hate it. And that backstory that they gave to Captain Hook, that was inexcusable. Hated it.
yeah. That one ranks higher on my list, but it was not amazing by any stretch.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't, it was disappointing.
For number 13, I have Peter Pan Live, the musical with Allison Williams. I think I was mostly just disappointed with this one because I had really liked the Kathy Rigby one. I think I went into this one with far too high of hopes, and it just was not good. I don't know. Allison Williams was just kind of flat, and Christopher Walken basically slept walked through his scenes.
Yeah, I would have that. I didn't have that separately listed, but yeah, I guess I would have that at 11 then at the lowest of mine as well.
Yeah.
I have it at
It's,
13 too.
I think
Terrible.
it's the worst of any of those live musicals they've ever done.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah. Oof.
I don't think I've seen all of the live musicals that they've done, but of the ones that I have
Yeah.
seen, I think I probably enjoyed this one the least.
Maybe The Grinch live was worse. That one was really
That
bad.
was bad too.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I am planning on doing a podcast on that one later this year. So
Yeah.
I will find out how bad it
You'll
is, I
get to
guess.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Well, for number 12, I have there's the Tinkerbell franchise, which I have split up. So for number 12, I have movies 1 through 3 plus the two specials. Like these are not bad, but I would not want to watch any of these again. Well, the first three movies were kind of boring. The specials were boring. I just didn't really enjoy them, and I wouldn't want to watch them again. So they
Hmm.
ranked much lower than the rest of them for me.
Hmm. I quite enjoy them. I have mine pretty high. I think they're cute.
Okay. Well, I have
Yeah.
some of them higher, so we'll see. What about you, Stanford? What do you have at number 12?
My number 12 is the Mia Farrow, Danny Kaye, Peter Pan. Didn't really
Okay.
didn't care for that one either.
That one will be higher on my list, but yeah, it was fine.
That I didn't care for the music, and I didn't. I thought Mia Farrow, who I think is a very good actress, but I thought she was not good in the role, and her singing voice just was killing me. Her lack thereof is more. Sorry.
For number 11, I have Return to Neverland. Again, it's not a horrible movie, but it's not great, and I wouldn't really choose to watch it again. So, yeah, it's a number 10. It's not a favorite.
What have you got? Have we hit your level, Rach? With
See, I have 11 on my list. So are you at 11,
yeah,
Jonathan?
we're good at 11. Are
Yeah.
we?
So
Yep.
my
Jonathan.
11 is that Peter Pan Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why it would be at the bottom of your list.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm an apologist for those live musicals. I usually really enjoy them, but that one was pretty bad.
Mine is the 2003 Peter Pan.
Oh,
What? You have it this low?
what?
I didn't like it.
I'm
Oh, wow.
shocked.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't
Yeah.
believe you have it that low.
Yeah, I have it low. I didn't care for it.
I have a feeling Stanford and I are going to have very
I
different
think we've
lists.
got very opposite lists. Yeah, which is fun.
What? I'm shocked. I really am. I'm shocked.
Well, I'll be anxious to hear about what you liked about it. I just
Yeah.
I mean clearly it was a nice production, nicely directed. It didn't resonate with me at all.
Wow.
So anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I was just in a bad mood. That happens. But and I've only seen it once. I saw it the one time in the theater. I've never seen it again. So
Huh.
Hmm.
Interesting.
yeah, see, I guess each his own.
Well, next I have at number 10 is where I have Pan
Okay.
Oh, okay,
with
yeah, and I
Hugh
didn't have Pan in my
Jackman.
list, but yeah, that's not very good.
I mean, there's some spectacle, but it's kind of it's just not great. I don't know what Joe Wright was thinking, and it is actually 2015, so it was later than we were thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but once I get back to Peter Pan, that should be one I watch. It's just to see how bad it is. For number 10, don't hate me, Stanford. This is where I have the Mary Martin
Oh, I
Peter
don't
Pan.
hate you at all. I mean, just say to each his own. I figured I would be the only one who liked it, so that's just fine. And again, because it's sentimental. I'm saying I'm an old man. You guys missed all that stuff. As kids, you got to see better stuff. So anyway,
Well, not to jump ahead, but like I have the Mia Farrow one at number 9. I think they're pretty much tied for me.
yeah,
So it just that's how it shook out for me. But yeah, I don't think it was bad, but I liked the Kathy Rigby one more. So if I'm gonna watch one of them, I would choose to watch the Kathy Rigby one
yeah.
before this one. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't have that one listed separate. I just have Kathy Rigby. Number 9 is where I have Return to Neverland. I mean, it's actually one of the more tolerable of those sequels, but it's basically just the same story about her daughter. So, I mean, I think it's serviceable, and for those sequels, that's I guess a compliment. But yeah, not great.
Did we do number 10? I'm sorry. Am I off too?
So I did Pan was my number 10.
Oh, okay. My number 10 was the Paramount silent film from 1924.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That one's higher on my list.
It
So
was it was very interesting. No, it was interesting to watch, but I think part of it too, I mean, I am a classic movie lover, but I am not a silent movie lover, which is something that I guess shame on me. I mean, sometimes I really like with the real classics like Wings or Sunset. I mean, I really admire, or Sunrise, excuse me, really admire these films. But this one, it's like, okay. I mean, I think part of it too is that familiarity breeds contempt because I am so, so familiar with the story. Like, okay, can we move this on, move it, move
Hmm.
on. Through all the
Yeah,
different,
I haven't seen it.
dialogue cards and stuff. It was interesting to see, and I know, I was very happy for the opportunity to watch it. So, like, another thing to thank Jonathan for, for providing that opportunity to watch it. I just didn't like it that much. So sorry, that was my number 10. So that
Yeah,
was my number 10. Sorry.
Yeah, and like I said, my number 10 and 9 were kind of tied, the Mary Martin and Mia Farrow musical. So what
Yeah.
is your number 9 then, Stanford?
Return to Neverland.
Okay.
Cheap call, hated it. Hates the strong word, but I did hate it.
Number 8 is where I have Peter Pan and Wendy, the Disney Plus film. I did not hate it as much as Stanford did, but it was not a favorite. It was more disappointing to me than anything because I think I had too high of hopes going in because I
Yeah.
thought, oh, same director as Pete's Dragon. I loved that one. And then it wasn't as good. So I think I just had too high of hopes. I don't think it was a horrible movie, but it was not a favorite of all the versions of Peter Pan I've seen.
yeah. Well, my number 8, this is where I have Wendy. This is a indie kind of film I saw at Sundance by director Ben Zeitlin, and it's a very loose, it's more of an homage. It's kind of a
Yeah.
modern adaptation, The Lost Boys, and it's not like it is a little bit taxing to watch. It kind of does the same thing over and over again, but it is really beautiful, and he has absolutely beautiful music. But you're probably better off just watching Beasts of the Southern Wild, which was his first film, and instead of this. This does feel somewhat self-indulgent and yeah. So it was disappointing because I really did love Beasts of the Southern Wild. So I was really excited that you're at Sundance to see this. But I don't know, it's just I do think it's better than these other three.
I haven't seen it.
I'm so glad you remember. I forgot that one. I saw that one too, Rachel, and I thought it was just all the just as you described it. I didn't love it, but it was beautifully filmed and had a lot of things that were good about it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I didn't just love it. I think because of the that repetition and the pacing and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It was one that I noticed a few times while I was deciding which versions to do, but I figured I have enough. I
Yeah.
ended up doing more Peter Pans than I expected, so I'll try to get to that one the next time I get it back around to Peter Pan.
so my number 8, I grouped all the Disney fairy movies too. Although I have Tinkerbell at number 7, that first Tinkerbell film, and then all the other Disney fairy films. I just have them at number 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not for me. They're not for me, but they're not. I know people like them. So
For number 7, I have Tinkerbell Secret of the Wings. I thought that that one was where the franchise started to pick up steam for me. None of them were like amazing or anything, like I must watch this again. But like Tinkerbell Secret of the Wings, that was the point where I felt like if I had to watch this again, I wouldn't mind. Like that one's kind of a weird one, but I felt like it was better than the three that had come before. So I enjoyed that one more than the first three. So that's why it ranked higher.
Yeah, that one's fun. I like that.
What did you have for 7, Rachel?
Number 7 is Where I Have Hook. So I do not like the whole like dad is evil because he's working a lot and he needs to be
Mm,
reformed from by the end of the movie. And usually that involves like him stopping in the middle of giving a presentation and being like, I have to make it to the recital or whatever. And it's like it worked in Mary Poppins and they've been trying to do it ever since, and it almost always annoys me. And it annoys me here. And especially this kid, man. I just can't with this kid. He is just I and there are good things about it. There's moments of whimsy that are nice. I hate the whole Tinkerbell story. Julia Roberts was so miscast. But Dustin Hoffman's pretty fun. The score, the sets, other stuff, but it's not my favorite. I'm not in the underappreciated camp.
I the things you're pointing out about it are things that I also hate with movies. I don't hate them about Hook, and I have a feeling that's nostalgia.
Hmm.
Like Hook is much higher on my list, but I watched it a lot as a kid. So I think any issues that people have with Hook, I probably would have the same issues had I not seen it when I was a kid. So
Yeah.
I love Hook, but I'm going to guess that's from nostalgia more than it actually being amazing. But I don't know. Like Hook is one of my favorite Peter Pans. So it's one of those things where it's hard to gauge whether or not you're looking at something with rose-colored glasses, which is
Yeah.
very possible for Hook. Because, like you said, that like the dad is evil because he has to work. I do hate that trope, but I never thought about Hook. You're right. That is a big part of Hook.
Yeah.
So in any other movie, I think I would hate that, but I don't in Hook, I guess.
And I don't know, just that little kid, I can't stand him.
And what did you have at seven, Stanford?
Tinkerbell. The yeah,
Oh, it's seven?
at seven, that Tinkerbell film.
So you had that one separated out from the rest. You liked the first one better?
I had just the original Tinkerbell, yeah, and then
Oh,
at
okay.
number eight, all the other fairies movies.
Okay.
What I
Got
chose
it.
to, but honestly, I could almost like group them all together. I guess I
Okay.
just thought the original one. I thought it was clever the way that they set up that whole world.
Hmm.
I thought that was kind of fun. That had some potential, but again, it didn't feel like it was made for me. So
Yeah. Number six is where I've got the silent version.
oh, okay,
I ended up liking the silent version a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like, I don't think it's amazing or anything, but we're into the point where we're into movies where, yeah, I could watch that again. That'd be fine. And the silent version surprised me in that it was very watchable. Like I was expecting it to be boring, especially when I saw it was an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, oh no, this is going to be a slog. But it wasn't for me. I actually enjoyed it. So yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice to do a rewatch, but I would have no problem doing a rewatch.
it's very interesting. I was really happy to learn about it and to watch it.
What do you got for number six, Rachel?
I have this Hallmark one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
What about you, Stanford?
I have the Kathy Rigby one at six.
Okay. Well, it's higher than I thought you were going to have it, the way you were talking when we recorded that episode.
Well, I didn't love it, but still, there was much to like about it. Particularly, I think the flying scenes with her were really strong, and
Hmm.
so fun to capture that on film. Not a fan of
Yeah.
all the glitter, like you and I talked about. I think we had opposite feelings about the glitter, but the buckets of
Mhm.
glitter. But and I just feel like too, all of the performances were overall were quite good in that production as well.
Hmm.
Overall, not everybody, but and then miles above, the 2014 live. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for number five, this is where I've got the last two Tinkerbell movies. After Secret of the Wings, I felt the last two really stepped it up. And I felt like if they had kept the series going, it could have been some of the best that they've done with like the not that these were cheap, but cheapquels for lack of a better term. Like the last two I kind of enjoyed. The Pirate Fairy and the Never Beast. I enjoyed those. And if
Yeah.
somebody wanted to rewatch a Tinkerbell movie, those would be my first two picks. I
Mhm.
enjoyed them. They weren't amazing, but
It's fun having Tom Hiddleston.
that was such a weird choice, but it worked. It was
Yeah.
like
That one's my
Loki is in
favorite. I
this.
think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that probably is my favorite of the three, but I think I grouped five and six together because I did enjoy the Never Beast almost as much as that one. So yeah, those two I thought they were much better than most other Disney sequels or prequels or whatever you want to call them. What do you have for number five, Rachel?
That's where I have Peter Pan and Wendy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was disappointing. I thought it was going to be better, but I thought it was serviceable, and it was okay. And it had, yeah, like Jude Law, and I just thought it was average, fine, like,
Hmm.
but nothing special.
Yeah. As far as like the Disney live action remakes go, it was average. It was not one of the worst ones in my opinion.
No, no way. But yeah, I was expecting it to be better.
Yeah. What do you have for five, Stanford?
Well, I have Jake and the Neverland Pirates at 5, and
Oh,
I
really?
should clarify. I can't believe
I
it
was
that I,
thinking maybe you'd forgotten that one.
no, no, you know, I mean, it's not. I mean, clearly, it's for just for little kids, right?
Yeah, it's preschool,
I
isn't it?
thought it was, yeah, absolutely, if that,
Yeah.
you know. For me, it was again clearly not the audience. I thought it was a fun way to bring in I mean the Peter Pan characters with these other, these new little kids. And I just liked the way Captain Hook and Mr. Smee were portrayed in that. I thought that they
Yeah.
were true to the characters, and it was just fun to just spend some time, even though, I didn't necessarily need to solve the puzzle or learn my ABCs or whatever, but still it was, I liked it a lot better than those Tinkerbell movies, that's for sure.
I think you've probably approached it in the ranking different than I approached it because my ranking is based more on whether or not I would rewatch them. But I will say, Jake and the Neverland Pirates was a very well made show.
Yeah.
It just, I was kind of bored, so I wouldn't want
Oh,
to
yeah,
rewatch
yeah,
it.
I get it. Yeah.
Production wise, it was better than some of the other ones towards the bottom. It was better than Peter Pan Live. I just had because I don't want to rewatch it. I guess
Yeah.
I would choose to rewatch the Peter Pan Live before I chose that one. Although,
It's just Disney Junior, isn't it? Is it a
yeah,
Disney
yeah,
Junior?
It's Disney Junior. Yeah.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates is shorter, so maybe I should have it higher than Peter Pan Live because I could just watch an episode of that and be done in 20 minutes.
Well, and Jonathan, I don't know if, I mean, I know we talked about it in one of our podcasts, but I'm not sure I watched every episode. I don't think I did.
No, well, I
But
didn't either. I watched a handful.
I watched a handful, and I, definitely got the idea of it.
Yeah.
And I thought for a little kid show it was cute, and I just appreciated that it felt true to these characters, as
Hmm.
as portrayed in the
Yeah.
1953 version. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they definitely got the characterizations right for the most part.
Yeah, for the most.
I didn't love the darlings, but I don't think you saw the ones with the darlings.
No, I didn't see the ones with the darlings. No. It was mostly Captain Hook and Mr. Smee.
Yeah. The pirates were pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Well, on number 4, this is where I have Disney's Peter Pan, which that's probably going to be too low for some people, but I watched it when I was a kid, but it wasn't one that I grew up with, so I don't have a ton of nostalgic feelings for Disney's Peter Pan. I like the music more than I like the movie. So, in doing this series and other versions that I've seen when I was younger, I've found that it doesn't rank near the top. Well, I mean, it's near the top compared to some others, but it's not a top favorite for me. And there are others that I would choose to watch before Disney's. It's a good movie for the most part, but it's not a favorite for me. So it's better, and I would rewatch it sooner than some others, but it's not going to be like a top favorite.
Like your fave, yeah.
What do you have for 4, Stanford?
I have Hook at 4.
Okay.
Which is kind of high. I have really mixed feelings about Hook. I echo what Rachel was saying. I don't like uh I thought Julia Roberts was terrible. The whole Tinkerbell stuff is awful. Uh I don't like that one character gets, dies. There's also all sorts of stuff. But then some of it's just really, really joyful. I think the flying, like Robin Williams flying around, Dustin Hoffman's good as Captain Hook. I love the soundtrack. So even though it's definitely not my favorite Spielberg, there's stuff I respect about it, and that's why I have it where I do.
Okay. What about you, Rachel?
Where number 4 is where I have just all the Tinkerbell. This is the franchise, the Fairies franchise.
Okay.
I really enjoy these. I think they're really cute, and I like the fact that they got top rate voice talent for all of them, and they kind of created like a little sort of fairies Avengers kind of group,
Mhm.
little superhero
Yeah,
group, and they all have their
yeah.
powers, and I don't know. I just think they're fun.
Yeah, they were better than I expected them to be.
I think they really tried to make them like as good as they could make them.
Yeah.
I like Mae Whitman as Tinkerbell, good
Hmm.
vocal.
Yeah, they had a great cast,
hmm
even though some of them
Lucy Liu,
left.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, she was there for the first half. She was replaced halfway through the series.
Oh, was she?
Well, the person they got was a decent enough voice match for Kristen Chenoweth, though.
hmm
Well, for number 3, Actually, my top three, I feel like this is my problem with ranking lists. I'm so indecisive. So my top three are all very interchangeable based on my mood. But like I said, I've ranked these as to how much I would rewatch them. So like if somebody gave me to my top three right now and asked me to rewatch them, my third choice right now would be the 2003 version. I love this version. It is one of my favorite versions of Peter Pan, but it probably would be my third choice to rewatch right now. I think Jeremy Sumter is a great Peter Pan. I think he is. You rarely see an accurate aged boy in the role. For all the ones that I've seen, that's been very rare.
Instead of a 45-year-old woman.
Yes. But I thought he did great. I really liked all the characters. I thought this was a really good cast. I like Tinkerbell, the weird little fairy. Like I like Tinkerbell when she's weird. Like the Tinkerbell movies did not feel like Tinkerbell to me, even though I liked them more than I thought I would. It's not the chaos Tinkerbell. And I thought this one was a weird Tinkerbell, and I liked that. But yeah, 2003 Peter Pan is my third place in this list.
Nice.
What about you, Stanford?
So for me, I've got one that I'm calling an honorable mention, but I put Finding Neverland in at number three. Even
Oh,
though
okay.
it's not Peter Pan, but Peter Pan clearly is an influence throughout the entire plot, the entire film. And I think it's a beautiful film and it's just heartbreaking, cute little Freddie, drawn by Freddie
Highmore.
Highmore.
Highmore, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd probably have that at three if I included it. I forgot about it.
but I really think it really worked for me. I thought it was a beautiful film and really
Yeah.
touching, and not Peter Pan, but definitely, yeah, as I said, kind of influenced, or Peter Pan is
What's about
he,
Barry?
yeah, and his writing of the play, right, of the
Hmm.
Yeah.
so of the work. So anyway, I thought I'd throw it. I'm calling it, as I mentioned, I'm calling it an honorable mention, but I'm just
No,
throwing it in
that's fine. I said prequels, sequels, and spin-offs are all fair game. That one I did not review. I remember watching that years ago, but it's not at all fresh in my memory, so I can't speak to where I would rank for me, but I do remember it being good.
Yeah, they made a Broadway musical of it, which I thought was good. I liked the film more. Did you see the stage version of it, Rach?
I never have. No.
It's quite good, but I
Hmm.
think this film is very good.
Cool.
So yeah, that's my number three.
What do you have for third place, Rachel?
It's where I have Kathy Rigby, Peter Pan. I love me a pro shot, even a bad pro shot. I still I don't know, I just love the whole process of theater and seeing how it's all put on and all the performers doing their job. And I haven't seen this in many, 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 many years, but I remember enjoying it.
And the buckets of glitter.
The buckets of glitter.
There's so much glitter.
Yeah.
Well, shockingly to me, that is my number two. I kind of loved this. Which I didn't, this one was not even one I had been planning to rewatch because I didn't realize that there were three versions of the Mary Martin musical. It wasn't until I was texting with Stanford one night to like set up our recording that I was looking around. I was like, oh, wait, there's a third one. Because I had originally thought there was the Mary Martin one and then the Peter Pan Live with Allison Williams. I did not really realize that there was one that had been made in 2000. So I was like, okay, well, we got to do that too. And it ended up being one of my absolute favorites. I loved it. I've watched it twice now,
That's
which
great.
I don't do that. Like if I'm watching stuff, I've got so much that I've got to watch for the podcast. For me to watch a movie twice, not even making notes, I just sat down and watched it. I loved it. It was
Yeah.
so good.
Well, I'm so glad you liked it, and it's a fun production. And again, those acrobatics that Kathy Rigby does,
Yeah.
those are legit.
That's a huge part of why I liked it, just her energy. Like I said at the beginning, she does not look like Peter. She's 48. She's muscular. This is not a small 8-year-old boy. But once I got over that, I absolutely love this. But like when I first saw her, I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I forgot about it. And I loved her performance. Even though she didn't look like Peter, she captured the energy of Peter. I really liked this one.
Yeah, that's great.
So what do you have for two, Stanford?
So two, I've got Mary Martin.
I wondered how high that would be. I figured.
Shocking.
I
Yeah.
figured.
Sentimental favorite, my childhood. Love it so much.
And what about you, Rachel?
Number two is where I have the Disney animated classic.
Okay.
I do think that it is absolutely beautiful. I love the songs, except for Red Man. The second star from the night shines in the light for that's a great moment in Disney
Hmm.
history. I love Tinkerbell's character. I love the fact that she's kind of a brat the whole time.
Yes.
Um, and which I think is fun. And I love Your Mother. That whole sequence is absolutely beautiful, beautiful vocals. I like the physical comedy. It's one of the silliest movies that Disney ever did. Just the pratfalls that Hook goes through.
Hmm.
Um, you know, that I think is really funny when Smee shaves the bird instead of Hook. I think that's hilarious. So all of that, it has the first real like villain song you could say in a Disney movie, which is kind of interesting.
Does
Cheers
it? I've never
for
really thought about it
Captain
before.
Hook. Yeah, the little pirate shanty that they sing to Captain Hook.
You might be right. I didn't even
Hmm.
think of that.
Yeah, yeah. And so all those reasons I enjoy it. I obviously don't like the Red Man stuff. I don't like that they're all trying to kill Wendy for some reason, even though she's perfectly sweet. And I don't really understand why they all hate her. And it's just not my favorite story, so it's not going to be like a favorite for me amongst classic Disney, but I do like it for those reasons.
Okay.
The Mary Blair art is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do think it's the best songs of any. You can fly, you can fly, you can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said,
Think
for the
of
Disney
a
Peter Pan,
happier thought.
even though it's not a favorite movie wise, I love the music.
Yeah.
Well, for number one, I'm sure you saw this coming. I have Hook. This is my Peter Pan growing up. Like I maybe watched the Disney one twice, probably. But Hook, for whatever reason, my brothers and I borrowed that from the library a bunch. It's rewatched a lot in our house. And it probably, like rewatching it this time, there was some things that was like, I probably wouldn't like this if I had never seen this as a kid. But I guess nostalgia wins out because I couldn't rate it lower. Even though, like I said, the Kathy Rigby one surprised me with how much I loved that. And that's why my top three, I feel like are interchangeable. But like Hook, that was my nostalgic Peter Pan growing up. So it had to be my number one,
Hey, I believe in nostalgia. I support that, John.
Hmm.
which probably is why your number one. I already know which one it's going to be.
It comes as a huge shock to you both. Yeah, I've got the 1953 Peter Pan from Disney animation. It's just my favorite. It was a childhood favorite. It's my favorite ride at Disneyland. I love the music. Love the animation. Sure, the story has some challenges, particularly with modern sensibilities, but it's still one of my all-time favorite Disney films.
Okay, and Rachel, what is the number one Peter Pan on your list to close us out?
My number one is 2003 Peter Pan. I think it's definitively the best version of this story. Like, it doesn't really have really any of like the problematic elements in almost every other version. You've got like a real kid looking Peter. You've
Hmm.
got Jason Isaacs being a great Hook.
Yes.
It's I don't know. I think it's just totally charming and fun. I mean, as much as I'm going to like this story because it's just not my favorite story,
Hmm.
I think this is the best one they've ever made.
Yeah, like I said, that was my number three, but top three are all very interchangeable. And yes, I think this is probably, as far as film versions go, the ones that I've seen, this one is the best. Like
Yeah,
Hook is a sequel, so it's not exactly a version of Peter Pan, and the musical is the pro shot. So as far as a movie made to be a movie on the big screen, I would say 2003 is my favorite version. It's really good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we have ranked Peter Pan. Yeah, like I said, this is something I'd wanted to do for a while. I'm glad we had got to have a good discussion out of this. This was fun. I'm gonna have to try and do more of these when I do other stories. I won't subject you guys to do the ranking of the Grinch. I'll probably do that
No.
with Nikki
Thank
from
you.
Trivial Theater.
Thank you.
I think she's gonna
Oh,
join me for most, if not all, of those episodes anyway, so we'll have to do a ranking at the end. But I know some of those are gonna be rough.
I like the Boris Karloff, Chuck Jones ones, and everything else. Correct. Anyways,
Okay, well, thanks for joining me for this. This was a lot of fun. We will have to have you back for something else in the future. You probably won't be interested in joining the next one, the Grinch series, but in the future there'll be something else. Until then, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you, Rachel?
Yeah, you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And we do Talking Disney, me and Stanford, about once a month. And we have a lot of fun with that. And then I also am the host of the Hallmarkies podcast. So you can check me out there.
Okay, and where can people find you, Stanford?
I've got a movie podcast and website at moviespastandpresent.com.
Okay. Well, thanks again for joining me on this, and we will see you again for something in the future.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Jonathan. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Every Version Ever. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My link tree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.